Scotland's controversial new hate crime law has come into effect today. Campaigners held a protest outside the Scottish Parliament at lunchtime, and they brought a coffin, saying that the new law amounts to the death of free speech. Well, GB News' Scotland reporter Tony Maguire is in Edinburgh. Welcome to the show, Tony. So today is April Fool's Day, meant to be a time for much hilarity. Is anybody laughing on the ground there in Edinburgh?
I think a lot of people, Martin, were laughing at the very idea of this act, of this new law, which came into force at midnight. You know, and while April Fools gave us a good laugh, a good one I heard earlier on today was sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will end you in the slammer. And that very much, that spirit of tackling this kind of this moment head on is very much in the spirit. But enough for me. I've been on the airwaves all day. I'm joined by Susan Smith, who is the director of 01 Scotland. And Susan, for better or worse, here we are again, a year on. We spoke about the GRR this time last year. Not much has changed in the public discourse, has it?
No, not really. But the problem is that now with this new act coming in, there are going to be some people who are not allowed to say what they think. And that even extends to what people might normally think of as the safety of their own home, because there's no dwelling defence. So the implications for free speech are really frightening, especially as we know that the Scottish Police have said that the training they're getting on this is not fit for purpose and that it's going to cause all sorts of problems down the line.
Now, obviously, GRR was a huge story for all of us last year. In a way, Humza Yousaf came in after Nicola Sturgeon, picked up the pieces. But this hate crime and public order, this is very much pushed through by him during his time as a Justice Secretary. What do you think this tells us people in Scotland here about his methodology to governance?
Well, having sat at committee during the committee stages of this and having been involved in a lot of the conversations around this 3 years ago, it really fills me with deep foreboding, because Humza Yousaf, who, as you rightly say, was Justice Secretary at the time, promised that he was going to engage going forward with people like myself and ensure that our concerns did not come to fruition. After the Act passed through Parliament, he made no effort to talk to critics of the Act at all. And in fact, a lot of what he says about this shows that he has a rather half-baked understanding himself. He also withdrew at the 11th hour amendments which would have protected free speech. So it seems like he is weak, he is cowardly, and he is not able to engage with his critics.
Now, one of the most vocal critics, we were talking about her just a moment ago, J.K. Rowling. Now, she was asked a few days ago, would she withdraw tweets during a Twitter spat where she misgendered somebody? Now, she basically said that if she withdrew those tweets, that would be the greatest April Fool of them all. So how does this act affect the gender critical feminist movement and, you know, organisations like 01 Scotland?
Well, it's really scary because women, as we know, are not protected by this act. The Scottish Government made a very deliberate decision to leave out women. And so when women have been attacked at rallies in the past, when they've been subject to horrific abuse and in some cases even punched in the face, that doesn't count as a hate crime. So we're very unprotected. Our belief that there are only two sexes and that people can't change sex is also not protected. Police Scotland seem to think religion and belief are protected. They've said that on their website. They're actually wrong. I am really, really worried that women are going to be targeted maliciously by some of the activists on the other side, and that we're going to have no comeback and no protection in the law on an equivalent basis.
And of course, you did mention the Police Scotland there as well. You know, they have almost turned out to be one of the most vocal critics to this act. But certainly, this is just day one. Lots of days to follow and lots of response and reaction over this week as well. Susan, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Tony Maguire and Susan Smith of 01 Scotland, live in Edinburgh. Quick email to read out here on this topic from Crystal. Does this mean that Celtic v Rangers football matches will be held in complete silence then? Or will the police have to arrest the entire crowd? Fair point.